Hello and welcome to another episode of How Good is Rugby League. My name is Michael Corbin, and joining me on this Tuesday night, Emmanuel, it is Origin 3. Let's go.
Let's go.
Refraining from swearing
Yeah.
there.
Yes, Michael, Origin 3 is 8 sleeps away. The teams are in. The changes for the Blues are minimal. Queensland is in all sorts. There's media bans. There's glass houses. There's Tallis throwing shots from the NRL 360 desk. There's Billy Slater ducking for cover. And Ashley Klein has been appointed the referee.
I have loved what I've seen out of Madge as a New South Wales coach.
Yeah.
He has done a great job, I think, so far in just deflecting from his players, letting them play their game. There's not much pressure on them, and it's all the vitriol is being thrown at him and all his comments, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Obviously, though, the bigger mission for New South Wales is Latrell Mitchell, who we found out on, I believe it was Sunday morning, has a foot fracture, a Liz Frank fracture in his foot.
It's the new trendy fracture for the year, isn't it? Like, it's just, it's got a fancy name. Ponga's had it. Mitchell's had it. Suddenly everyone's going to say, Liz Frank is about to become the new Syndesmosis, Mike. It's going to be the one that the commentators all refer to and then sound like, Dr. Johns, Dr. Fitler, everyone else.
It's a bit harder to diagnose than a syndesmosis, which is just a high ankle sprain. Syndesmosis,
fancy word.
Top of the foot is I think it's a break at the top of the foot. It happened in the 20th minute of the game against the Eels. So he played 60 minutes with a broken foot, Latrell.
Yeah.
Led the team to victory, had a great game, but unfortunately is ruled out for the next 4 weeks, I believe.
Yeah.
Doesn't need surgery, which is a really good sign for South Sydney. We'll discuss them later.
Yeah.
But Bradman Best comes in in the left centre role for them.
Yeah.
It's a couple candidates. It was either him, Matt Burton, Tom Trbojevic, or Joseph Suaalii, and I think they made the right decision in Bradman Best.
Yeah, I think that's the case. I mean, Suaalii was their game one, obviously, but Best was not
injured.
Available.
Yeah.
Best had a breakout performance in game 3 last year down that left side with Cody Walker from memory in that game.
Correct.
He did a really good job. Was part of the reason they won that game, and I think the thing that probably stands out for me most amongst those other candidates is his defensive aggression, is what I really see that Madge is probably looking for. And I think Bradman Best is a great choice. Burden, unlucky given his club performances. Trbojevic, I just wouldn't risk it. He
didn't look good enough.
No, he didn't look good enough. I'm just not comfortable. If other players that have come back from injury and get rushed into the side, Cam Murray, different story. But given Trebojevic's history of injury, given he got injured in Origin last year as well, and I know it was a freak injury, but I'm just much more comfortable with Bradman Best being there. And I'm really excited to see that unfold.
Yeah, the only centre in the comp who's averaging more yards than him, more metres than him per game, is Roger Tuivasa-Sheck.
Yeah.
And Roger's spent a bit of time at fullback and on the wing this year. So, really, he's one of the top meter readers in the centre position, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
Fits into our game plan. The other change, and I think this is the right change, it's unlucky for Homale Olukwatu. I think that he didn't do anything wrong.
No.
But he didn't do enough to probably keep the jersey. And Mitch Barnett has come in after just one of the greatest forwards performances you'll see against the Dogs on the weekend. I think he had 56 tackles, close to 300 metres, 5 offloads, a try. He was just an absolute monster on the weekend and deserves this spot in this Blues team, if you ask me.
This is a change, Mike, where the benefit of winning really lets you make this change and sort of kind of just absolutely get away with it. Olukwatu,
more of an edge-back rower, whereas Barnett can play a bit of both, probably a bit more.
Yeah, and I just think his performance wasn't amazing in that game. There was a bit of talk last night on a couple of the NRL shows about he missed a tackle or two. Maybe that played a role, but I just think he didn't do enough. Like it was lackluster in teams where I think there was just probably a better option, and I agree Barnett is that option. He provides a bit more of a middle role, and I think it's just a really good choice.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think it's really clever by New South Wales and Madge to make that decision. It's a hard decision to make, but it's the right decision to make. Obviously, when you've got Liam Martin and Angus Crichton on the edges, Angus will play 80.
Yeah.
Martin will play close to if you need to spell him.
Yeah.
There is Isaiah, there is Cam Murray, there is now Mitch Barnett, there is Connor Watson. There's plenty of players who can give Mitch. You don't need a specialist really second row on the bench. There's plenty of our forward pack is versatile enough.
Yeah,
where I don't think it's necessary. So yeah, great decision by Madge to bring in Barnett. I think he just adds a little bit more, another dimension to our team. For Queensland.
3 ins, Cobbo, Gagai, Ponga, out, Coates, Tuolangi, and Jaden Sewer.
One big omission.
Yeah, talk to me.
I can't believe that David Fifita's not in this side. Like their forward pack is lacking a bit of size and a little bit of like just pure physical dominance that they're missing from the likes of Tino and Flegler and Tom Gilbert. David Fifita is that in every single... And Billy keeps mentioning all these 1% efforts, but I'm not seeing that out of Capewell. I'm not seeing that out of Nanai. Both teams have, haven't been great this year. They haven't been great for their respective teams this year. I think Billy's been too prideful on this, and I think it's going to come back and cost him.
Yeah, I agree. Like if they lose, it's going to be a huge issue for him. It's a funny thing that. And you started to see it with Fittler as well. They tend to overthink it, right? And sometimes there's a selection where they're queried on it in 1 year or one game, and then they sort of get stuck in a corner on it. And it's very hard. It's almost easier to double down on your decision than admit you're wrong. And I think that's kind of what Billy's going through here. And I just, given the lack of, we praise Queensland all the time. They have the workmanlike forward pack, just get down and do the job. But I think that they need a bit of a sort of wrecking ball to just get in there and be past the ball. And I think there was a comment last night from someone related to Queensland about the rocks and diamonds of David Fifita. Well, Reece Walsh, I appreciate his rocks and his diamonds. His diamonds are up here compared to David Fifita's diamonds. Still rocks and diamonds.
I don't even think Fifita's Fifita's solid. I don't see it. And I'm watching Titans games. I'm like, what is Billy saying that I'm not? I don't get it. Like I'm seeing good efforts from him. I'm seeing him put in hard yards and making his meters this year are up from last year. They're higher than Nanai and Capewell, and I don't get it.
It does remind me of that era when DCE was sort of excluded from the Queensland team and just constantly. And that was a time when Slater was, obviously in the leadership group for that team, but it's inexplicable, really.
Yeah, it's odd. I honestly, the backline that they've picked though. With Gagai and Holmes, probably what I would have gone with at the start of the season, start of the Origin series.
Yeah.
I think Gagai was in much better form than Valentine Holmes was. I've said that many times. I don't think his defence has been anywhere near as good as it has been in previous seasons. We saw that in Game 2. Angus Crichton and Jerome Luai and Latrell just absolutely dominated him.
Yeah.
On the wing, he's probably a bit more suited in Origin. He's great he's one thing he hasn't let go of this year is his meters out of the backfield.
Yeah.
So that'll really help them. Obviously, Coates is a big loss.
Yeah.
Talangi, I still he's done a job in Origin. I haven't seen I still don't think he's an amazing player. Gagai has been fantastic for Newcastle. And on the weekend,
if you put him in an Origin jersey, he's a different level. This used to be a running joke.
Yeah. The joke was when he was playing at South Sydney, if he had a good game, it's he must be wearing a Maroons jersey underneath that thing because his games for South Sydney where he was good were few and far between. The moment he put on a Queensland jersey, he was the best player on the field.
Yeah, Mind you, there are only 3 Queensland games a year and 24 for Souths. But, anyway.
Yeah. No, but like even on the weekend, like that try where he roamed around, went to the other side of the field and scored.
Yeah.
Like he's so talented, and he got dropped last year for the hammer. That was the right decision, I believe. But he's back in this year, and I think he deserves it. And Ponga on the bench scares the living hell out of me.
Yeah, he's the X factor. He is the genuine, like, if they're on top, like if it's 4 or 6 points or something, and the Blues are getting tired, depending on how that game unfolds, like if it's 13-13, I think that the Blues' fitness is incredible.
Yeah.
But there's a couple of things I'm quite concerned about, Mike. The refereeing. Well, no. I'm saying this in the most honest way. It's like we're not going to get the same refereeing we got in game 2. Okay, it reminded me of.
It's going to be the second half of game 2.
Well, that's it. It's going to be the even ups in the last 10 minutes. But that Queensland crowd and a refereeing performance that cannot replicate what we saw in game 1, where there was all those 6 agains in the first 10 minutes, in the first 15 minutes. It's just. The Blues are going to have their backs up against the wall from the opening minute, but as long as they don't have a game plan that relies on breaks in play where they need that carry up field, and I think the longer they can sort of hold out Queensland, that takes the crowd out, it leaves the Queenslanders a little bit uncertain, and that's when the frustrations build. And we saw the frustrations in Origin 2. And I think that's how the Blues probably get over the line. But it's going to take a lot of patience and a lot of persistence. And it's going to require Moses to be really composed.
I think it's also, I mentioned Ponga. It's going to take, when he's on the field with Reece Walsh, we're going to need the best effort out of Dylan Edwards. Because what's going to happen is they're going to split sides, right? Normally, if you're a fullback, you see whatever side the fullback is on, right, and you go that side, and you line up hedging to that side. You see Ponga and Reece Walsh on either side of the field, you have to make a decision, right? And they're going to pick it apart. They're going to go the opposite side. And you've got 2 great dummy halves in Grant and Hunt, and they'll see it. They both play eyes up football. They're going to know where the fullback is, and that's what's going to hurt us. For New South Wales, I think the moment that we see fatigue in their forward pack, because I think we're going to have the ascendancy early on. I think our pack is bigger, it's stronger. We're going to play at the middle. The moment we see that slight amount of fatigue, we need to bring on Spencer Leniu and just continue to punch that hole up the middle. I was at the game, the Roosters game on Sunday. And when he came on the field, his runs off the back fence on kickoffs were some of the most electrifying things I've seen at a live event. Like, the crowd was so behind him on those hit-ups, and then every time he got the ball, it's like, how many people is he going to run over? He's in great form at the moment, and New South Wales need to utilise that 30 minutes that he's on and just make sure that we're on the ascendancy at that point.
Who wins?
So it's funny. New South Wales, Queensland started as favourites. I think it was $1.85 to $1.95. Then it went to even. Then Latrell got ruled out. And New South Wales went to $2.10. That's how much I believe that the bookies and the people back how big an impact Latrell is. I think a lot of the reason why Queensland are favourites is Suncorp. I think it's actually the main reason why Queensland are favourites. We've only won 2 deciders up there, 94, 2005. You've heard it a million times. New South Wales 20, Queensland 12.
Interesting. I have Blues 18-14. It is that environment, and it is, 2 years ago, we should have been in this situation. We went up there and we're expected to win that third game, and it's just something about that arena. It is different. And there's a lot of experience in this team in Origin levels, a lot of premiership winning experience and grand final experience. But this is a different beast altogether. And they just have to be prepared that no one in that stadium is on their side.
Yeah.
And that's, I think Madge will do a far better job than Freddie did in preparing them for that. But whether that's enough to get them over the line remains to be seen.
Yeah, I think that at the start of this series, I didn't think that we stood a chance.
Yeah.
I thought that it would be 2-1 and Queensland would win.
Yeah.
I said that. You said that as well, I believe.
Yeah.
The way that we played in game 2 and what I saw out of us in game 2 and the side that we've picked, the injuries that they've had, I think that we're the better team.
Yeah.
And if I think that we're the better team, and I even factor in Suncorp a little bit, I think that we've got this.
Yeah.
That's my reason.
Yeah.
Who's your man of the match / Wally Lewis medalist?
Well, I think Wally Lewis, I said Carrigan at the start of the series. It's a tricky one.
I think if Queensland win, it's probably Carrigan or Hammer because they've both been good in both games.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's probably fair. And if New South Wales win, who's doing this? Has to be Stephen Crichton, I think.
I think it's a choice between the two Crichtons.
Yeah.
It's Angus or Stephen.
Yeah.
It'd be hard to give it to Mitch because he wasn't there game 1. But like, how much do you take into account game 1? It happened to Billy a couple of years ago. Yeah.
Doesn't mean anything, right?
It doesn't. And look, he was that good in game 2 that if he comes out and has a performance like that in game 3, then sure.
Yeah. I don't know. Now I'm sitting here. I'm nervous now, Mike. I'm nervous. The more I think about Suncorp, it makes me nervous.
We're going to get through this weekend and it's going to build and build and build. And Monday's going to hit and the anticipation is going to keep on growing. And this could be one of the great Origin matches.
Yeah.
I'm excited. I'm really, really, really excited.
Yeah. All right. Club footy.
Club footy.
A
Bit of news today.
little bit of news.
Nicho Hynes had an ankle injury at training yesterday.
Got carried off.
It's reported today that it is a syndesmosis injury. It's also a fractured tibia.
Yeah.
So it's 8 weeks minimum, which rules him out for at least the rest of the regular season. And maybe into finals football if the Sharks can hold on.
Can they hold on?
Their schedule says that they should.
Yeah. Yeah.
And they've done enough so far in the season that they should.
We'll see.
Look, it's no certainty.
Yeah, it's unfortunate timing for Nicho. Like, it comes off the back of he's copped a lot of heat since Origin 1. Apparently, outside of football the other day, there was talk going around yesterday that he actually, over the course of the weekend, talked someone out of taking their own life, which is amazing. I didn't see much coverage of it, but it's something that, you hear so much about what he does off the field. And I think that's another great example of that. It's just a really unfortunate rough patch for him. And it reminds me, obviously not the same star power as Nicho, but like Lockie Ilias, sort of the dropping compounded with the season-ending injury. And you just bad luck comes in doses, doesn't it?
That half-back position, there's so much pressure on it.
It is. 100% it is. And it's unfortunate for Cronulla that he's copping a lot of it because, it's a team effort. And it shouldn't be up to Nicho to kick the winning goal against, for example, the Dolphins, and the team shouldn't have been in that situation to begin with. So it's bad luck for Nicho. Hopefully he's back before the end of the year, but I do think there's genuine possibility that it's curtains on Cronulla. I think that top 4 spot is very shaky for them now.
I think so as well. The Dogs have a fairly favourable schedule as well. The highest team that they verse is the Dolphins. And I think they're gunning for that top 4 spot.
Yeah.
I actually messaged a couple of mates of mine who are Sharks fans, and I just thought Nicho needed some time away from the game. Like, he's got this bye coming up in round 20, but I would have given him this week off.
Yeah.
And next week off, just tell him, go on holiday, clear your head, like it was needed.
Yeah.
Maybe this helps him come back and just refocus and step away from football for a bit. Obviously, focus on your recovery, even better. and hopefully make a push in the finals, maybe win that first game. If you're sitting in 7th or say they fall to 7th or 8th, and you get a healthy Nicho Hynes back, I wouldn't want to verse that.
No.
I wouldn't want to verse that as a 5th or 6th team.
Yeah, that's very true. Very true. So that was, I guess, one bit of news. The other bit of news, which is just sort of poetic, really. Jared Warrior-Hargreaves. Mike, do you want to tell us about your Sunday afternoon?
Yeah, so I obviously just mentioned I went to the game on Sunday afternoon.
Mm-hmm. How many were there?
About 23,000.
Okay.
Probably wasn't as great a crowd as you would like.
Yeah.
I think the rain scared a few people off.
Yeah.
But it was a very vibrant crowd. The people who were there were loud.
Yeah. A lot of Dragons fans. Did many Dragons fans? Or
no, I wouldn't say there was a huge amount.
Yeah.
The every single time Jared ran the ball, the crowd was cheering.
Yeah, right.
They got behind him. And you mentioned poetic. What is more poetic than first hit off the game absolutely smashes Francis Molo, and then obviously gets sit and binned.
Yeah,
perfect. Jared now, we've just found out from the judiciary that he is going to face 4 weeks on the sideline after losing, facing the charge of losing.
Yeah.
So he's only got 3 more regular season games left for the Roosters, so that makes it a total of 27 games, so a full season.
Yeah.
Of rugby league that he has missed through suspensions in his career. That
has to be a record of its own, right?
It's pretty close. I think Reddy Bird has a record.
Yeah. Latrell must be on there too. Maybe not as many, but he'd have to be double digits.
He might get there eventually. And then, he goes up for another big hit, head clash, comes off, subs off, and there's just blood running down his face. He played 5-10 minutes with blood running down his face, walks off, yelling at the crowd with blood running down his face. He is an absolute
menace,
warrior of a player. The effect that he has had on this Roosters team for 15 years has been immense. He's the greatest Roosters prop of the modern era. He's a leader. He's been our forward leader. And I heard Brafe say this on 360 last night. He's one of the few intimidating players left in the NRL, if not the only intimidating player left in the NRL.
It's true. It's very true because the game doesn't allow it.
No, he's an old school player.
Yeah,
his kind isn't around anymore, and it's going to be interesting to see what impact our team has without him next year. I think that's why Spencer Lenny was brought into the club to bring that intimidation factor.
Well, this year wasn't going to happen for him. At one point, he was meant to for Jared. At one point, the Lenny
then you sign, and then we
signed for this
him
year
later.
and the expectation that Jared was going to wrap up at the end of last year.
Yeah,
and then he sort of announced he was going again. There was a bit of drama with Jared last year and his suspensions, and then the sort of was he on the outs, and then out of nowhere the Roosters re-signed him, and but yeah, he's as a South supporter, I love to hate him, but I love that. I love the it's like the Roosters with Latrell, or the Roosters used to be with Sammy Burgess. It's that kind of it's the player that you as a club love, but everyone else hates,
and
they hate partly because they wish they had one on their team.
And the fact that they do hate him means that he's done his job perfectly.
Yeah.
Right. The other thing with Jared, and everyone has said this, and I've met him a couple of times.
Yeah.
Best bloke off the field.
Yeah.
Great family man. Great family man. Great clubman.
Yeah.
Great leader.
Very
and just a genuinely humble, nice person.
Yeah.
The moment he comes between those sidelines, he's a different animal, and that's why he has found that balance in his lifestyle, which is fantastic. And I'm so proud that he's our most capped player.
Yeah.
Love him.
Yeah.
Can't wait for us to ride this home. I heard Nick on Fox Sports, Uncle Nick on Fox Sports last night say our favourite Jared moment hasn't happened yet. It'll be when we're winning the grand final this year. Was his words, not mine. His words.
Mm-hmm.
I can see you rolling your eyes.
Everyone can see it, can't they?
Yeah.
That's why we've got the cameras.
Yeah. Just amazing.
All right, Michael.
The other thing is Vegas teams have been announced.
Yes.
Confirmed, sorry. The rumors were that it was these teams. So it's the Panthers, the Raiders, the Sharks, and the Warriors.
Yeah.
And then there's also two other games. So there's two games. And then there's two other games, which is the Gillaroos versus the English women's team.
Yep.
And
Wigan
versus Warrington.
Yeah. And they're happening 4 games one day from 8:30 a.m. local time. It's a lot of football.
It is a lot of football.
So hopefully that attracts a bigger crowd.
Yeah. I'm worried about the fan. I'm worried about the women's game.
Yeah.
Because the Gillaroos are far better than the English women's team.
Yeah.
Like our development over here of the women's game has been a lot more than what England has put together. So I'm worried that could be a bit of a blowout.
Yeah.
Also, the teams that have been picked,
not
huge fan bases.
No.
So how much will travel?
Yeah.
That's a question.
I'm wondering if I've got a feeling the Raiders are kind of there on the basis that just the local Vegas team is the Raiders.
Maybe
there's a bit of sort of get down and see the Raiders, like that kind of just. It's another Raiders team. They're probably associated. How bad was that imitation?
It's not the accent's solid.
Yeah, thank you. And so anyway, we'll see on that. And Penrith playing over there as well. I think that was flagged. They asked for that game because their stadium's gonna be out of action.
Yeah, they want home games in anywhere other than I think they're playing at Combank next year. Yeah, so they can take games on the road. They will.
Yeah. Okay. Very short round this week because of Origin.
Yeah, round 19.
Round 19.
4 of the top 5 teams have a bye, and the Sharks play the Tigers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right, let's do a quick around the grounds on some of the team news. So Tommy Turbo's named at fullback.
Yep.
Jaden Campbell returns from hand injury at 5'8". Daniel Atkinson is named at number 6 with Trindle to halfback for Cronulla with Nicho out. Lorenzo Mulatalo will make his NRL debut for the Eels on the wing, and Sean O'Sullivan will play his first game since round 7 this year. Okay, so Thursday night, we'll just do a quick run through Michael's tips.
Yep.
Thursday night, the Dolphins host Souths at KO Stadium in Redcliffe.
Yeah, big game for both teams, really. I think Souths need to win this one.
Yeah, Dolphins hot favourites.
Really? Yeah. Interesting. I'm actually going to go Souths in this one. I think they get up. Yeah, I think that Dolphins don't want to slide out of the 8. Souths, I think, need to win this one to make the 8.
Yeah. Okay, the Friday night game, Sharks hosting Tigers at PointsBet Stadium.
No Hynes. I'm going to get Sharks. I'm not confident on it, though. Who knows what we're going to get out of the Tigers.
Yeah. Saturday afternoon, the Titans host Parramatta.
I'm going to go with the Titans in this one. No Mitchell Moses for the Eels, and they're the worst defensive team in the competition now. Souths, obviously, they've jumped Souths in that regard, and that's not Mitchell Moses' fault. No. He's doing everything for that club, and they're not performing.
Yeah. Broncos hosting the Dragons at Suncorp on Saturday night. Both teams without Origin players, obviously.
Yeah, and some really crucial games this week. Broncos, this is a must-win. Otherwise, they fall to 12th on the ladder. They're going to be 4 points behind possibly whoever's in the top 8. So I think the Broncos get this one. No Ben Hunt, no Zach Lomax for the Dragons. Obviously, there's a bunch of outs for the Broncos, but I think they need to get this game.
Yeah. Dragons used to have a really good record up there. Don't know if that's still the case, but who knows. And then Sunday afternoon, Manly hosting Newcastle at 4 Pines Park, a.k.a. Brookie.
Yeah, no. Manly last time they played during the Origin period was against you. It was one of the worst games of football I think I've seen a team ever play. So I'm going to go Newcastle on this.
Yeah. Manly hot favourites for that one. Canberra, Canterbury, Melbourne, Cowboys, Penrith, Roosters and Warriors have buys.
Yeah.
There you go. So to recap Michael's tips, for anyone that didn't hear. Dolphins hosting Souths. Michael has gone with Souths.
Yep.
Sharks over the Tigers at PointsBet Stadium. Titans over Parramatta on the Gold Coast. The Broncos over the Dragons at Suncorp. And Newcastle to beat Manly at Brookie.
That's it.
That's it.
Yep. So we'll be back
Thursday week.
Thursday week. Oh, well, next Thursday after Origin Game 3.
Yeah.
No women's game after this one. So we will get you obviously our Game 3 reactions and preview round 20 then. But before we sign off, Emmanuel, go the Blues.
Go the Blues.
How good is rugby league?
How good is rugby league?
Thanks, guys.